The action-adventure game God of War has cleaned up at this year's BAFTA Games Awards with 5 trophies, including the award for Best Game. With more than 2 billion gamers in the world in what's become a multi-billion-dollar market, the opportunities for this industry have never been brighter. And to tell us more about it, I'm joined by Joe Twist, the Chief Executive of the Association for UK Interactive Entertainment, and Chris Tapsell is here as well, a writer for the video game news website Eurogamer. Now, you both know a lot more about this than I do, but I can see that these were exciting awards and you had some clear winners, which are really capturing imagination here.
It was a fantastic night, and it's so good that BAFTA is an organisation that really celebrates creativity, creative arts, recognises and supports games, because it's really an important part of our economy. And I think it was such an open field last night, and what the Games Awards do is really show the diversity of different kinds of games that are on the market, from the big AAAs like God of War to like the small games such as Florence, which came away with Best Mobile Game, which is about a relationship breakdown and makes you cry. So our industry is full of talent, and that's what last night was about.
And Chris, also evidence there of kind of lateral thinking. It's not all the same kind of game or the big action fests.
Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously God of War is a sort of a traditional, what you would call a blockbuster, I suppose, equivalent. And it, is very bombastic. It's a sort of cacophonous action game. But absolutely, I think the most important thing is that we're showing that video games can be much more than just an action fest, much more than, violence or combat or anything like that. With things like Return of the Obra Dinn winning several awards, it's a sign that games can be a lot more than what people think they are.
And Joe, it's obviously a big cultural moving force, video gaming, but also economically as well. This is huge. Yeah,
we released figures this week that showed that consumer spend in the UK alone on games and all things games, including events, is 5.7 billion. And the UK is actually, it's world renowned. We are the birthplace of the industry. So we are a cultural force. We're a really important part of the creative economy and creative industries. And globally, we reach global audiences with our joy that we bring to people.
Yeah, I was going to say, where do we stand? 5.7 billion sounds a lot. Presumably it's bigger in the States. But,
I mean,
that's because the States is,
huge.
It's huge.
It's huge in China.
Right.
China is a massive consumer market, and the US, North America is a huge consumer market, but Europe is a big consumer market as well. But I think it's fair to say that the UK punches above its weight. I mean, we love games. We love these stories. 1 in 3 people play games regularly in the UK.
And Chris, what's exciting for you on the horizon? What should we be looking at?
I think probably the biggest thing on the horizon is Google. Google is stepping into the industry for the first time properly towards the end of this year. We don't know the exact date. They're bringing out something called Stadia, which is a new platform. It's similar to something like a PlayStation or an Xbox, but obviously the big difference is the fact that you won't have a box at all in your house. It's a streaming service. So I suppose the main thing is that that's going to have a huge impact on how games can be developed, not just about how we play them. So there are things like our ability to jump into a game from a link on a YouTube video, which is huge for the consumer, and there are things on the developer side which allow them to develop games at a much greater scale. So while God of War is this sort of technological marvel and it's a stunning game to look at, the premise, at least with Google and their promise, is that developers will be able to take it much beyond that. Huge multiplayer scale, so instead of, one game where you control lots of little men in a war or something like that, every single one of those hundreds or even thousands of characters that you might be controlling could be controlled by another person who's all playing online.
And I can feel you're both excited by individual games or imaginative forays, but also by these developments that can be a new paradigm that just change the nature of the industry and what everybody scrambles to catch up with.
I mean, what I love about the games industry is that you're surrounded by the most creative problem solvers in the world. We love new technology, we love innovation. We're only about 40-something years old as a sector, so we're constantly iterating, we're constantly pushing the envelope, but we're also that lovely sweet spot between art, storytelling, technology, innovation.
Just time, I think, to bring out one more factor, which is virtual reality, which I think we've been talking about for quite a long time as the next big thing. What do you both think about this?
I think that it's going around the sort of pace that people expected it to go. It hasn't taken off. It's not this huge sort of bombshell that's hit the industry. It's ticking along nicely. It's gradually growing. There's some kind of progress there. I think that people need to be patient with it. People need to have confidence and faith. It needs to be backed by the
You
right
still have
technologies.
faith, Joe?
Absolutely, I love VR. Just at the moment, it's like early mobile phones. It's a little bit expensive. My living room's not big enough, and you know, you've got cables. So that's changing all the time.
And I have just a few more seconds and I want to dispel a myth. It's not all about teenage boys playing, is it?
No, the average age of someone who plays games is in the mid-30s. It's 50-50 male, females. In fact, the typical person who plays game in the UK is a 43-year-old woman who loves other cultural activities.
There you go. It's bigger, wider, broader than we knew. Chris and Joe, thanks very much for being with us, and thank you for being with us here on Impact. Much more to come in our next edition, including new medical research that appears to disprove the idea that 1 or 2 glasses of alcohol are fine. Sorry about that. See you soon.